Go ahead and blow it.
Let's just hear you.
Amen. It's always good to hear the shofar. As some of you have seen by my title this week, it's going to be somewhat hitting home to a lot of us. I know it will to me. It did to me when I realized that this is what I had to speak on. So let me get it set up here. And we know we've all just come off Sukkot. I'm still recuperating from that, as some of you might be. My title this week is going to be Materialism, the Lust of Stuff. And so it's okay, listen to me. It's okay to have less stuff. It really is. I mean, you don't have to. I was reminded this week about a bumper sticker that I've seen on a relative of mine on his vehicle, and it says, "The one who dies with the most toys wins." Have you ever seen this bumper sticker? Some people enjoy seeing that in their boats, their cars, and their houses, and their things, their stuff. So, of course, we don't agree with that, but it is a interesting concept. This world is the thing of stuff is a sign of success in a sense. My main text this week is going to be Matthew 10:1, that whole section there. Let me turn to it myself.
Well, most people, Christians, think that the sign of them being blessed by God is because they have a lot of things. Sign of blessing.
I don't know. Within the church, I would say an unhealthy church person would think that. A healthy one would think that they have, in a sense, a righteous family. Or they're able to help others. But all we really can control is yourself. If you can control yourself and have a good self-discipline within yourself and listen to the voice and spirit within, I think for a healthy, even a Christian, I mean, I know Christians that are very, outgoing, very spiritual. So I think if they feel they have it with all wells within their spirit, that there's success. Because ultimately they know that they're going to be judged by their Father, by the Elohim. So that's what, unhealthy ones, sure, the people of the world think most stuff they have, they win. Or the more children they have, or the more things they can pass on to their children, material blessings, material things. But the book of Matthew, it was 10. I turned to 1. Basically, it talks about the sending of the 120. When Yeshua has had, he gave them authority over unclean spirits to cast them out and to heal every disease and every bodily weakness. And these are the names of the 12. Okay, we know them. He sent them, do not go into the land of the nations, but do not go into the way of the nations, and do not enter the city of the Shemarim, but rather go into the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Now, these are of course the people that were close to him that agreed to leave everything. Matthew, his tax collector tables. Peter, his fishing boats, along with his brother. And I believe Andrew was with him. There were 3 of them, I believe, that left the fishing boats, and different ones that left different walks of life to follow him. Now, in Israel, in Jerusalem at the time, this was in one sense expected. You would retain a certain time of year of your life, and then you would join to yourself together with a rabbi. And a lot of times this rabbi was gone through the normal things. But that's not what I'm going to talk about today. When we came on Sukkot, we packed our bags. We went up to, in a sense, the wilderness, let's call it that, to honor those that went before us in the land of Israel, and in the wilderness from Egypt. So we went with our little bags, and sometimes our truck loaded with things. But we go there, and we spent 8 days, a full 8 days, living our life out of a box, out of a suitcase. So when we come back, when we're there, we make do with what we have, and we don't have to worry about our stuff because we just have it in a little box. When we come back home, how many of us opened our door and says, "Oh, look at this stuff. I love my stuff. I've missed my stuff," and walk through the house, and you just lay your hands on your stuff, and your house. Okay, what's your house for? It's mostly to hold your stuff. A lot of us, we live out of our car, and our car holds our stuff. It also gets us around. Let's go to Nazarene Acts. We're going to go to book 7, chapter 6. And let me try to get back to it. Oh, come on. Stop. Okay. Keith is talking with Clemente. And he says, Clement says, I want to be your servant. I want to just serve you in all that you do and everything. And Keith goes, nobody's around to do my dry cleaning for all of my costumes or anything like that. Nobody, I don't have hordes of cooks that set this delicacy meal before me and everything. And these things, an entourage of animals to haul all my baggage that I take with me. I have this one outfit. I have a simple meal of simple bread and oil, and this. And he was taken aback because Clement, from his lifetime, was very wealthy, had many of these servants that would serve him. And so and as you read it, we haven't time to turn to it. Of course, technology fails us right now. But he was taken aback by this and said, he was hurt by what he was telling me because he considered Kepha as his teacher and his master in a sense. So he was, how could I don't need servants. I don't have much. I don't need much, Kepha was saying. So I don't need servants to wait on me in that sense. This morning, Brother Daniel talked about Abraham leaving, I believe it was Haran, his hometown with his father and his family. And they had a business making idols. Now, of course, we understand, if we do remember what happened to those idols before Abraham left, he destroyed his family's business. Mm-hmm. I think I would leave home too if I did that. But he took Lot with him. And so you see, if he had had a different mindset, when he got the word, when Father came down, whatever form that was, the burning bush, no wait, that happened later. The different ways the Father speaks to him, whatever that way that was, he says, I want you to pack up your stuff and move. Now, some of us today have very much entanglements with our stuff. If Abraham says, Father, I want to obey you, but I got all this stuff. I can't leave my stuff. And so if that had happened, where would it have been today? Now, I'm sure Yahweh would have found some other way either to destroy his stuff or choose somebody else, but it would have happened. But Abraham was willing and in a position to pack his stuff and move. Now, today we have houses that we buy or rent to hold our stuff. And sometimes our houses get so full that we can't fit the stuff in the house that we bought to hold the stuff. So what do we have to do? We have to go down the street to rent a building to hold our stuff. And then that we don't use for maybe 6 months, or then we keep piling stuff in there and filling up a house full of stuff. And then we want bigger trunks and bigger vans to haul our stuff. And it holds us down so many times. Now, the thing of it is, do we have stuff, or does stuff have us? Are we a slave to the stuff that we acquire, the things that we think will make us whole? This Sukkot, again, we took barely a bag, and now we had a few items of clothing, and we lived for a whole 8 days. How can we do that? We have so much stuff. How can we live for a whole 8 days on that? So I went home, and I look at all my stuff. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's like caving in on me. You know, and this week the Father has always been convicting me. Now, I have some stuff. Let me. I'm down here. Let's look at my stuff. Now, a lot of times this is the only thing we take on the whole event with us. Now, you're gonna have to move the camera really to get the full effect of this. Okay. Now, this is just one, in a sense, article of clothing. This is my socks. This is my socks. Don't worry, I'll pick it up. This is my socks. This is every single sock I own, and for some probably are somebody else's.
Some of those look like my socks.
They might be. But, you know, these are all of my socks, the ones with holes in them, the ones that are orphans. I only have one of them, but I keep the sock. Maybe the other one will turn up. So these are my socks. It's a whole load of laundry there. Now, you know, I could go through these and say, oh, yeah, I like my socks. You know, I want to keep them. I want to look at them. So it fulfills me.
Can you find a pair in there?
I think maybe, no, probably not.
What happens to socks?
I've heard that the laundry eats them. When you put them in the laundry, it basically feeds the laundry, the dryer. But that's what I heard. But so we're so tied to this stuff that we have to get more drawers and more dressers to house our socks. So eventually, these things take over our life.
That's like airing your dirty laundry in public.
I know. Well, I didn't go that far. That'll be next week. No. But some would say, oh, but what about your stuff? What about the Yahad stuff? Why does the Yahad have a storage area?
Tell them.
Why would this?
What do we have there? We got tents.
Okay, all right. I'm getting into that. Let me preach.
Books.
Let me preach. We have when we had to move out of our tabernacle, out of the room we were living in, the Yahad was having there. We had our books. We had our tents even there for our events, and we had no place to put them. So we had to set a storage area. And the way I do it, usually I put a value amount on those stored things. And then every month that you pay storage, you knock off the value of that stuff. So eventually you'll get to zero, and you'll be paying to basically buy your stuff again. So that was, but back to the hold that it has upon us. Some people can't go to these events or can't go to where Yahweh calls them to because of their stuff. Now, stuff doesn't have to always be just material socks, but sometimes it is. Sometimes it could be things we have in our life that we think we can't change. Relations, family that we have in our life that We can't leave because of this, this, and this.
A cat or a dog.
Okay, well, a cat or a dog.
Yeah.
There was Rich Young. There was one of the people that Yeshua talked about, and it says, "Come and follow me." And he couldn't because he had so much stuff. So think of it. This young man who was just eager for eternal life and to do those things and obeying, he couldn't leave. He couldn't do it right now because he had so much stuff. Yahweh said, "Let the dead bury the dead." There was one that's because he had so much possessions. There was another one. Let me think my mind now. He couldn't come because he married a wife, just married a wife, and now he couldn't come right now. Or he has children, he can't come. He can't do what the father tells him to do. Now, a good family life is important, and I understand that. But when the father calls you to do something or go somewhere, and those things are a hindrance to a genuine call from the father, who is in control? Is the Father, is the Yahweh in control of your life, or is your stuff? Or does your stuff have control of you? And so I would say, someone was asking on the internet, on the Facebook page, Think Tank, says, what's a good topic? What's a good topic for us to talk about? And I says, minimalism. Should the body of Elohim have an attitude, lead a minimalistic lifestyle, so that we can be called to go to a certain land at a moment's notice? This is where the apostles lived their whole life. Or, what was I going to say? I cannot go right now because I've married a wife and I've bought me a cow. I cannot come to the wedding feast because I have all this stuff that I have to take care of. So are we going to say at the Last Supper, I would have done what you said, but I had so much stuff to do. I had so much stuff I needed to take care of. I needed to buy a house so I can haul my stuff with me. So, I have a challenge. I have a challenge for us next year at Sukkot. No matter where we're going, if we're not even going anywhere at Sukkot, just pack all your stuff you have at the time, and go and just live out of your stuff for 1 week. We have a year to do it. I'm starting off with my socks. You can see that's a daunting task. However, that's not as daunting as my towels, my old clothing, and the big one is my tools. Those of you who know me, I've had tools from probably 3 generations, 4 different occupations, and all kinds of things. And we have a saying, you can never have enough tools. You can never have enough tools. The favorite store, the best store we have here is the Harbor Freight store that just opened up. I love going in there and just browsing. It's just like someone else I know going into Goodwill or Habitat and saying, ooh, candy, and buying so many stuff. I've got to buy a bigger van or bigger house to hold my stuff. Now, I'm not saying if you buy this stuff and then you give it away, I know who's listening out there. And I know what she's saying. But if you have stuff that you hoard, that you just like, and you keep it, your stuff has you. You don't have stuff. But if you take that stuff in with the mindset of giving it away to someone else has, that is a righteous ministry. But sometimes we don't. Sometimes we just gather our stuff. And sometimes we gather stuff that's part of us. We take it with us, bad attitudes or things that we think we have that, keeps us from doing those things. Let me see one. I couldn't go perhaps to a country because I have a beard, because it wouldn't fit in with the working class maybe that I would want to minister to. In Chile years ago, there was a family there that would go into the upper class in order to minister. So they had to present a certain facade or attitude or lifestyle in order to do that. There was other ones that had to go amongst the poor and become like them, not to demand my lofty status for that. But let's get back to next year's Sukkot. That's what I'm going to try to do, is to have so much be pared down in my personal belongings that I can, I can take, in a sense, all my stuff with me for a week and not miss my stuff that I've let go. It's not easy. It's not easy because I've had one person say, well, if I give that tool away, the next week I'll need it and have to buy another one. We have an orchestra here.
What about boot camp? They can do this a lot sooner.
Well, yes, but I can't do it then. I can't do it by then.
Oh.
I have to look at my stuff, get all my stuff together, and I'm doing it in stages. My socks are first, my towel is second, my clothing that I don't wear anymore. That's, it's been 6 months since I've worn those pair of pants, and maybe I never will again. And I have to get rid of them. I have to use them as rag, but not even use them as rag because that means still holding on to them. I need to get rid of them. Just like our tithe, we get rid of it. We go out from us. So boot camp is a good example, but I don't know if it's enough time because it does take time to do these things. So we would have till next year. Now some will say, yeah, but I need all my stuff. Okay, it'll wear you down like a ball and chain, trust me. I know I can't go at places I used to go in the time frame because of the stuff I have and the commitments that I've made and the stuff that wears me down, holds me down. But I would say to you this week, starting now, look, there's a lot of minimalism ministries online. I've been looking at YouTube and seeing how people pare down their belongings. We have books in our library, and that's one of the reasons why we need a air-conditioned space is because of our books from the Yahweh. And we've been before scanning the books on a nearby book scanner in the library in order to put them on our computer. And then we're going to plan on putting the book in the marketplace. We've got one that I just scanned recently, Akhenaten, about the pharaohs of Egypt. And it's a good sized book, 300 pages. So I've just scanned that and we're going to be putting that online and getting rid of it. Passing it on, not getting rid of. We're passing it on. There you go. And so that will happen to all of our books. And then our tents will be pared down and we will do away with that. It won't be an albatross, but it will be a leeching off from the finances of the Yahweh so we can do other things. And these other things that I'm going to talk about in the next couple of weeks are going to be interesting that we can do for an outreach from the Yahweh to help another Yahweh that has been coming up lately. So just think of it this week. If you were in the first century with your lifestyle today, and Yahweh was to say, I want you to go into the lost sheep of Israel and preach to them and tell them the good news, what would you say? What would you say? I'm sorry, Master. I'm sorry, Yeshua. I can't go. I can't obey your voice. Or he says, yes, use me. I've got to take care of my cat.
I've heard that.
You have something about cats.
Many times. No, I like cats, but I've heard people say, oh, well, I can't go to this or that because I have a cat at home. Mm-hmm. I mean, what? You just hit the nail on the head here. What if Yahshua was calling you to something? Are you going to say, sorry, I can't. I've got to take care of this cat.
Now, do you think that if Yahshua called you in a vision, in a burning bush, and that he didn't know about your cat? Of course he did. He knows about your cat. He knows everything about you.
You could make arrangements for
Of course. But what is your attitude? Is your attitude that I must be the one that takes care of and not be able to go?
That's right.
Arrange your life so that you can leave these things. If you must, give the cat to someone else. Now, I know, in that case, it would be kind of hard to give your cat away, if you know what I'm saying. And so I'm not talking about your cat, of course. But I know you don't, but you know what I'm talking about. But those things you need to take, sometimes you need, family does need you. And it's, do what you can to simplify your life. That's what I'm saying. So that even if persecution comes, and I'm almost done, don't worry. You won't have to put up with getting rid of your stuff for very long or being convicted. I'm convicted. Look at my stuff. How did I get so many socks? And where did the batch go? I don't know. I gotta get rid of them. They're all clean, by the way. So don't worry about that.
Oh.
They're all clean. I wouldn't bring dirty socks into someone else's home. I have enough in my own. So it's just a thing of simplifying our lives to be able to be on a moment's notice to go on the call of Yahweh. This has been my whole life. As a youth, I used to open my drawer and ask my brother and sister, come on over, I'm ready to give away some stuff. Now, I remember doing that. I don't know if they do, but I don't know how it turned out either. But I remember doing that, just to simplify my life on my favorite drawer, my little pebbles that I would collect, or bottle caps that we used to play things in the street. And and this type of thing. And, just to give it away, to get rid of it. And then start collecting again. It never became a full lifestyle for us because the lure and the lust of stuff is always amongst us. The guy on YouTube was talking about it. Now, when you watch, I don't watch TV, but I watch YouTube, and I see all these things that I can buy, these nice little electronic trinkets and everything I'd be interested in. And the lure of buying so much stuff is amazing. I mean, they actually have technology to make you buy stuff subliminally, flashing lights in your eyes to make you spend money. So, it's hard enough without watching TV. But imagine television today is just to a fine art to get you to buy stuff. Even on the radio, it's so hard. But we do need to have a mindset of the Spirit to refuse that and to say, I don't need that. The only thing I need is His will in my life. And so I would say to look at your TV and look at how much stuff that you're tempted to buy, even this week if you watch TV. But remember my socks. Remember my socks here. And just say goodbye to them because most of them are gone. How many socks do I need? Barely maybe 3-5 pair that match, by the way. So let's be mindful of that because times are coming when we might have to pack up to go. Or Yahweh is calling us within this movement to go to a place that needs this message, So that's my challenge this week. And we'll see how we do, okay? Let's pray. Father Yahweh, thank you for your example that you had, that the foxes don't have holes. The foxes have holes, but the master of the universe does not even have a pillow to sleep on. That he had what he took with him. That he traveled amongst that minimalist crew that you put together, that knew the advantage of having a light footprint upon this world, but having a huge impact upon it. We thank you that you will take us, you will give us the courage and the will to do this because times are short. And so I pray that myself would be willing to part with the stuff so that it has no more hold over me. And that we can go about this week to seeing how much stuff we can get rid of. And even when it hurts, we can get rid of it. Pictures that we can scan, and books we can scan, and different things. So I thank you, Father, for this week and for what you've been doing in our lives up to this point. Pray in Yeshua's name that we can do this. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Now to gather up all my stuff, figure out what to do with it.